So this week, I got an email saying that GPT Store will be released next week, right? And I believe we are reaching peak AI, man. I just watched the All In guys. They are saying all the generative AI startup that they invested in are losing value by the day. AI has been overvalued over the last year. And I don't think this is going to make any change to it. So I'm sure you've heard about the news of the GPT store coming online next week.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that, and I believe they send an email to everyone, actually, everyone that subscribed to ChatGPT. And to be honest with you, I also read tons of articles and watched few videos about this. And most people are saying this is going to be a hit, basically. So basically, this is going to be a big wave, and a lot of people are going to be benefited from this in terms of making money. But in truthfulness, I would say this is not going to happen. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the, I don't know. I'm a little bit reserved on the success of this. Obviously, OpenAI itself is already successful, right? They've taken the lead on making all of these things happen. So that's a good thing. But I I have some doubts because I've yet to see a good application for LLM. I've seen some good stuff for image generation for YouTubers, for example, generating thumbnail for AI influencers and stuff that, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Midjourney, all these guys, they are making good money. OpenAI itself is making good money with their GPT Plus subscription. But apart from that, there are a few indie hackers that have built maybe a PDF reader or a PDF ask question to a PDF kind of software. So there are a few developers that have built that, and also a couple of people here and there have built some tools for writing and stuff like that. But apart from that, I've yet to see someone who has actually made a really big change, built something really impactful with this. And I was just watching the All In guys, and one of the things they were saying is that most of the small startup they invested in that are AI startups,
Mm.
most of them their valuation has gone down because they were overvalued at the time, and that's just 1 year ago, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Chamat has one very good point is that all of this is very deflationary, and we addressed this already on the nvidia episode that we did. Is that the more other companies come up with GPUs, all this stuff, the value of the is gonna go down. Right now, the numbers don't make sense, right? There is limitation on how much you can use it.
Mhm.
It's very
Yeah.
slow, right?
Yeah.
It's very slow. You type something, you have to wait for every single character to be generated. There is a cap on how much queries or how much prompts you can send to the LLM. Even if you are using GPT Plus or GPT-4, there is a cap on how much you can send during a day. And when you
Yeah.
hit that cap, it stops you from using it. And
Yeah.
all of this is, and one of the prediction that they also made is that the value of OpenAI itself is going to go down because all of this is deflationary. And one of their
Yeah.
argument is that every company that is big enough is releasing this LLM or other generative AI models for as open source, and some of them are even free. And Apple is also coming up with their local version of this, and I'm sure that this is going to happen. All this is very deflationary for the whole AI ecosystem as far as generative AI is concerned. So yes, a few people are going to make money, but this is just going to be the App Store. Today, when you go to the iOS or Apple App Store, you'll see that it's just the top companies, right? And from time to time, you'll see a small company which builds an app that will pop up, and they will stay there for a year or two and just go away. But for the
Yeah.
most part, is the same big companies, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft, and the
Yeah.
big ones. That's Snapchat, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, totally understand what your point basically, and I think what you are trying to say is that the first thing is that even the people that build the ChatGPT, OpenAI, people don't really know the app really well. I mean, people don't know the full capability because we haven't tested it, right. We don't have the GPUs to do that. So that's the first
Right.
thing. And the second one is about the fact that OpenAI has a first mover advantage, right? And they've had this for 1 year already. And a lot of people are catching up. And people are
Right.
catching up, meaning that's going to
Really quick.
be,
Are
yeah,
catching up
very quickly.
really quickly.
We're catching up. So yeah, so the value of the product is going to decrease, obviously, because the level of the scarcity is going to decrease, basically, because there are going to be more people or more companies offering these services. So that's where I think the whole deflationary argument kind of comes from. But also, one thing I wanted to kind of mention as well is this GPT store. Maybe some people don't really kind of understand it, but
Yep.
basically it's just the App Store, right? So it's an Apple or Google Play App Store where you go and then find apps. But in this case, it's going to be just chat GPTs, personalized or customized chat GPTs
Right.
that people will make. And the argument or the reason why, personally, I think this is not going to be a big thing is that if you compare this to an app, to make a customized version of a chat GPT based on what you want is very easy.
Right.
And we discussed this over the phone not long ago, and we were saying you just need to know how to speak English, basically. So if
Right.
you know how to speak English, you can easily customize what's the name, a chat
PT. Yeah.
GPT. And even me, who is not, I'm not a tech savvy, right? I'm in the investment and
Right.
DD kind of strategy field, and I even did it, right?
Right.
So
You have
this
a
takes
couple
like
of GPTs that you already use
exactly.
every
So
day.
it's not for something to be big, right? You need to add a lot of value, and this doesn't add much value. If something were to pop up and become successful, give it 1 or 2 days, and other people will replicate it, and that's
Right.
that's done there. So barrier of entry is very 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 low. Value add is very very low. So yeah, it's not gonna be a big thing. Plus that we have the market thing that we discuss as well in terms of the addressable market. So
Yep.
this is gonna be limited to all the people that are subscribed to ChatGPT Plus. And
Yep.
regarding this, actually, the number of people that are subscribed to ChatGPT 4, because I know that in total I'm saying we because I'm subscribed to it as well. In total, we are 180 million, I believe now, nearly 200 million. But I don't know the portion or the percentage that is covered ChatGPT 4 as.
I don't think. First of all, I don't know because they don't release this number. OpenAI
I see.
doesn't release this number of the number of paying subscribers. And second, I think most people are just fine with G3.5. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the reason why they are building
Mhm.
the App Store and making it in such a way that if you don't have the subscription, the plus subscription, you can't use it, is to increase the number of subscribers. And I told you
Yeah,
before, this cannot scale to the level they want.
yeah.
Even if 1 million people or 100 million people decide to start using it today, it's going to be very tough.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reason why at I don't know if you remember, but a couple of weeks ago they actually suspended just before you bought your GPT Plus subscription.
Okay, just wait there. So this is one point that I wanted to mention
Yeah.
to the kind of viewers or people that are listening to us. For me to subscribe, you had to pitch it to me twice. The first
Right.
time I was, do I really need this? I mean, I can use
Right.
3.5. When I
Right.
ask any question, I will get my answer right.
Right.
And then you came again, explain, and then I was okay. Let me try. I mean, it's
Right.
worth it, but a lot of people will be really, a lot of people wouldn't be willing to pay that $20. But yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, yeah. I want to mention that we are not saying that people are going to make $0. That's not what we are saying. But it's also not going to be world changing, right? Just today, I can say compared to 1 year ago, I'm underwhelmed by what this thing can do, right? It can predict test and all that stuff, but it's nice, right? It saves me a couple of minutes here and there when I use the tool. So people who use it that way obviously will use some of those GPTs that people will release, but I'm just not seeing the groundbreaking invention here. I know everybody's talking about an iPhone moment. I don't feel this is an iPhone moment. This is on an App Store moment.
Do you know what? We tend to compare everything to iPhone these days.
Yeah.
And we even did that on one of our past videos, the one of the Cybertruck. So guys, you can go
Right,
back and
right,
check
right.
that. We compare that to the iPhone. And I believe on there we were right. I mean we are right, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he said yes.
Yeah. So that's my position right now. And a couple of things are even coming up, right? Even for people like nvidia and the cloud providers, even for them, they once the GPU space becomes crowded and you have a lot of option for GPUs, one good thing that will happen is that the GPTs will be faster, so they will be more available. So that will be one thing, right? And some people will make money, right, with the GPTs. But again, it's profit sharing, and you have less of a crowd. You don't have access to the 100 million users. You have only access to the people who are paying for the GPT Plus subscription. Okay, so that's limiting. Okay, second thing, when you build your GPT, right, you are, if you don't have something that is proprietary, is going to be very difficult for other people or for yourself to make money or make it profitable for you. Let me explain. So right now, GPT-4 is trained on a ton of data, right? Maybe all the data that is on the internet. So there is almost nothing that is publicly available today, and even sometimes privately available, New York Times, right? That is not accessible to GPT-4 today. So let's say you go and write some GPT that can correct something, or just think of something, right? And so you go and write that, and it doesn't have, it is not working based off some data that is already publicly available, right? It's going to be hard for you to make money. The people who have proprietary data, data that is not everywhere on the internet, those are the only people who I believe are going to make it to the top. Because with every AI system, the data is the power. Data is
Yeah.
power. So just based off that, I'll say don't even create a GPT if you have proprietary data. Because if you remember, one of the things that they said during the last dev day of OpenAI, Sam Altman mentioned that every GPT or everything that developers are creating on their platform, GPT will train on that. So if you have proprietary data and you go and create a GPT,
It's not
like
proprietary
it's no
anymore.
longer proprietary. Like
Publicly
it
available.
belongs to the public now. Okay, so only enterprise people and maybe API, and don't quote me on this, but this is a still blurry, and OpenAI needs to clarify this. People who are using the OpenAI API to build their own software outside of the ChatGPT ecosystem, maybe those people are safe, but even that I cannot confirm in 100% because the documentation is not clear on that today. What they are clear on is that enterprise users data, the data from the enterprise users will not be used for training. So based on that, I think again only the big companies or the companies that have enterprise data or proprietary data, only those people are going to profit from this. But
Yeah.
again, those companies, do they want to build on top of GPT? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
They will probably
There, there,
want to build their own thing.
yeah, there is a point that you mentioned that I think we should kind of make more emphasis on and really kind of stress on that, which is the profit sharing. I think a lot of people don't know this. If you were to build or customize a chat GPT that you are selling on the App Store, I think you will be paying something to ChatGPT. They are going to be cutting a kind of commission, right?
So you are talking about the GPT itself, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you are not going to pay anything, but
Oh, okay.
so the payment is going to be based on usage. So just think of how many
Yeah, yeah,
tokens
yeah.
will be generated from your app by other users. You will be paid on that. So let's say one 1,000 token will be $0.00025 or something like that. So if they generate a million token, just
Mm.
multiply by that. So you are
Okay.
not gonna
Yeah.
be rich off that. And once you multiply it by 1 million, divide it by two, maybe. Because they are saying profit sharing. I don't know exactly how much they will be taking,
Okay.
but I'm just gonna assume 50-50 for now. And that's basically what is going to happen.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I wouldn't want to launch a product and
Hmm.
be limited to
Just few people,
only a
right?
certain group of people, right? Is
Yeah.
and you can't even set your own price. At least if they allow developers to set their own price, I think that will be better. But again, so that people don't have to pay the GPT plus subscription,
Okay.
right?
But regarding setting your price, right? Maybe you have more details on this. So if you go to App Store, right, you see what you see is you see a lot of apps there. You type what you want in a search, but a kind of space there, and then you get multiple app. Let's say fitness, and then you get something on fitness. So you will see free ones, some with a monthly subscription that will be I don't know £5, $5. I don't know. So in the GPT store, the prices, isn't there going to be any price there? I'm not sure if I get this.
No, at least from what I understand so far, there won't be any price.
Okay,
That's why they want people to have the GPT Plus subscription.
okay,
So
okay.
only people who have GPT Plus subscription can
Mm,
use the GPTs that other people are creating.
yeah, this is even worse than what I thought. This is like very very bad. And plus that, there is the whole token thing there, that you can have an app where people are just screwing or just using your token in a very 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 bad way. Just tons of queries and stuff, and even you are
Viral,
not gonna get anything. Yeah,
right? So they can throttle it. That's the whole thing about this, right? So
yeah,
let's
bad.
say your GPT goes viral, right? Goes viral, 1 million people try to access it at the same time. Because right now they don't have the GPUs available to run for many people, they will probably cut off people. Maybe, I don't know, half of those people will have access, and after using it for 15 minutes, it will stop and tell them to come back in another hour.
Yeah,
That doesn't make for a good user experience, right?
nah, yeah.
So this whole
Go
is
ahead, go ahead. So,
this whole thing is just, one is a bit expensive to
mhm.
run this whole thing. It doesn't scale. It doesn't scale, especially when the GPT of certain people go viral, right? I'm gonna give you an example, right? The and it's gonna sound we are against it. That's not what we are saying. We are just saying that it's not exactly what people are imagining, right?
Mm,
So the I think last week or earlier this week, the Jeffrey Epstein files came out, right? So I saw someone on Twitter who went on and added the PDF to a GPT. They created a GPT, and the source of the data for that GPT was the PDF of the case of the Jeffrey Epstein case, right? And they published that, the person published it on Twitter, and tons of people started going there. And this is not even that it reached a capacity. That's not what happened. Because of the contents of the PDF, right? ChatGPT was censoring the answers. So if you ask a question and it's gonna be not safe for work, right? The question that you're asking,
yeah.
the PDF, because a lot of
This
things
this
about,
this doesn't
you
make
know,
sense because the case is about not safe for work.
exactly, right? So that already is a very limiting factor,
Yeah,
because this
gotcha.
is something serious that is going on, right? It's not, it's something serious. That's something that people are really
Yeah,
interested in. Let's say you build something like that, and the sensor, whatever data you are supposed to provide, is very scary to build on top of GPT if you are a very serious business, person, right?
yeah,
So I
yeah.
would say, if you want to build one of these or something like that, just build it outside of ChatGPT
Of
itself.
ChatGPT. I mean, based on the things that you said, plus what I kind of understood before, this whole thing, right? For me, sometimes it just feels like a product that's launched too early. And I think maybe they just release a prototype to see how the public is going to appreciate it. And then there was a big hype around it, and quickly they turn it into a product.
Yeah,
And what happened again is that since Microsoft has competitors that want to do the same thing, and those competitors, Google, they have shareholders that put a lot of pressure on the board and on the people working there to create a similar product. This has been just pushing everyone to release stuff. So they just make product that they haven't tested really well, and then they will release it. And in case of Google, we remember a few, I think that was in October, right, when they released that. Was it a Gemini? Yeah,
Gemini,
yeah, Gemini, exactly,
and
that's the
Gemini
name.
Pro, I think.
Exactly,
Are the
exactly.
two that they release, and it turns out it's just a prototype they're filming, and the whole thing was very underwhelming.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So what we are saying basically is that to really leverage OpenAI is better to build something ChatGPT. And
I'm gonna go even further,
okay,
right?
go ahead.
I'm gonna have a hot take here, right? I think, right,
Hmm.
the whole generative AI thing is, the hype cycle is
Hmm.
plateauing and is in a descent right now, right?
But you are saying that, but Nvidia stock, we talked about it just one video ago. It's still climbing because they have
Well,
the
you
GPUs to do that.
watch everything, watch the whole video, because we also expose the other side of the trade, right?
Yeah, the
The other
outlook.
side
Yeah.
of the trade is that competitors are going to come. There will be local generative AI that
Hmm.
runs locally. And when that happens, people will not be dependent on data centers. which will make it less reliant on nvidia. People will start using amd and intel chips to run their own stuff. Even if it doesn't run as fast, it's going to cut down cost, right? And make some of these generative AI stuff a bit faster. And once you get generative AI running locally on your iPhone, all of this becomes a zero sum game. And this is what Facebook Meta has been trying to do. They don't even play in this, they don't sell, their business is not selling LLM, their business is not selling generative AI. But they have a team that is at the same level, right? They have a team of researchers that is at the same level as the people at OpenAI. And they released the Llama 2, right? Their own model, which is comparable to 3.5,
Okay, I
right?
didn't know that actually.
Yeah, they have, and they are not the only one. There is another group in France, I think, which released Mistral. Mistral is another model which is comparable to GPT 3.5. There
Yeah.
is Google with Bard and
God, yeah.
Gemini, right?
Yeah.
There is Microsoft. There is Amazon. All these people are releasing their own model. Even Nvidia has their own model.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that.
yeah, and there is a place called Hugging Face where all of this is documented. All any new model that is being released is talked about there, and you can download it and play with it, right? There are 420,000 models released on there.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say that this whole kind of AI thing that you are talking about and the examples that you are giving, right?
right.
This we can compare it to Apple's touchscreen. I'm going back to Apple again. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the basic. So we can compare it to Apple's touchscreen when they came out with the first iPhone, and just after a few years, everybody was making phones with touchscreens. Like
Right.
in tech, it's very easy to. I mean, not very easy, but it takes very little time for competitors to catch up, and that's what's
Right.
happening in AI.
But here is the thing, right? Here is what makes it this thing even worse than touchscreen. At least touchscreen, there are few companies in the world that can make touchscreens, right? There is still a barrier of entry. Not everybody can just get up and make a phone, right? Because it's a whole system. But to make an LM application, especially the only thing you need is English. Just go and type some word and be good at English, and that's it.
What you are saying, right? It makes people that study English language at uni feel very good. And usually that's the subject that I say this is worthless, man. You are a British. Well, let's say you are a British, and then you are going to uni and doing English again. It doesn't even make sense. But
Right.
what you are saying, maybe they have an advantage here. You never know.
Yeah, yeah. And this is another hot take. The tech people have basically created something that's is gonna make themselves, and I'm part of this community, so it's touching me too, right? But it's making us less relevant, right? Because we have skills, right? So you have coding skills, you can go and build your own stuff. But
This is
but
funny.
that's fine. I don't
This
mind
is funny.
competition, right?
AI, this is a very, very hot take. AI is going to cut job in software engineering. AI is going
Exactly.
to cut job like crazy.
Right.
This is unexpected, but
It's unexpected, but the people, and that's why I go keep going back to proprietary data. And I think this is a good point to discuss, where when you have proprietary data, something that is not available to everyone. Let's say you have a book, you are a YouTuber, you've done some research, or you maybe go to the government website and you've collected some data, and you try to add it to some other data that you have fetched on the internet. You try to change it in some way, right? Maybe that's where the money is,
hmm.
because that makes it exceptional, right? It's not something that you can find everywhere. That's where the work needs to be, not everybody just going and writing some English and launching the next. So people who are going to build these GPTs, some of them will make money based on this, but quickly a lot of people are going to catch up to them. Once they figure out how to get that same data, especially if it's not proprietary, there will be so many competition that it won't even make sense to do it.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
think on that side, people who have a little bit of software skills, I think they should try to build outside of GPT, right? Build outside of GPT, build something that is actually useful for people, right? I think that will be the best way to go here. But again, I'm not saying if you have ideas to build a GPT, don't do it. You should totally do it. I'm doing it too. So
yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And basically, what you are saying is outside of GPT and have a proprietary data. And proprietary
Yep.
data is just you can use a combination of data if you don't have, a data that's yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other points or things that we wanted to mention and we haven't?
I'll say very soon, people are even going to stop using, not stop, but there is going to be a lot more competition with OpenAI as far as models go. Some people are going to start using other models that are not necessarily T4, especially when the ones Google and Amazon and Meta catch up to GPT-4 level of inference, right?
Yeah,
So once that happens, this is why I kind of agree with Chamat on this point. OpenAI is going to lose value because once that happens, they are going to slowly start losing some of their customers, especially if it becomes cheaper to run those models, right? Because right now the price per thousand token is still a little bit high, especially if you have a product. Let's say you build something that gets used just like Facebook or YouTube get used, right? Where you have millions of people pouring into it at every second. None of the generative AI stuff is scaling to that point currently. Even OpenAI is having difficulty doing that. That's why it has to throttle people.
yeah.
So
So
for
in
someone to really have a good impact in and build something that is very impactful, you need to reach that point where it's almost free to generate this inference so that millions of people can do it at the
can
same
use it.
time.
Okay.
And that's the power
Yeah.
of software.
Yeah, I was gonna say in terms of capabilities, when Gemini came out, I mean they showed some comparison with ChatGPT 4, and they seem to be quite close. Really, the gap is not that much. I mean, I
Well,
don't know whether Google is lying or not.
well,
Based,
they've lied before, so
I don't really know, but what they showed was that Gemini is actually very very close to ChatGPT 4.
yeah.
So yeah, everybody's catching up, which is something we've been saying for a while now on this pod
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. My prediction for this is going to be for the near future, a couple of people are going to have initial success, and that is going to dwindle really fast.
Mm,
Just look next week. This thing is going to come out. People are going to make thousands of videos about it. A few GPTs are going to go viral. Some people are going to make money. And in the following months, all that is just going to go down.
down.
And
I
but
think it
the
started happening
people
already.
is already happening, right?
Mm,
But the people who are going to have a steady income for now are the data centers, the people who are renting out the GPUs. They are going
mhm.
to be okay for a while till, but even them, their stuff is going down because the more hardware come on the market, the lower the price will become.
The price is gonna be. But I mean, overall, right? What we are saying is basically a message that goes to people that want to make money steadily over I would say middle or a medium or long term, right? If you are looking for like quick money, I think you can get something if you were to customize a chat GPT and then this is successful. I mean, this goes a little bit viral. You get few thousand, maybe few hundred thousands. And I'm saying this because I'm comparing it to what happened at the beginning of AI when the generative AI was just like ChatGPT
Last year,
and
basically, yeah.
exactly and all those image generative people, some software engineers that created those platform where you take one picture and then you get many versions, and
Yep,
I'm sure that's
yep,
how a lot of people came
yep.
across the whole
Now
AI
and
thing.
today, there are thousands of those.
Thousands of those,
Yeah,
thousands. Yeah, so that's the way you can make a quick amount of money, but that's not going to last really. So if you are in the long term or trying to grow something steady in the future, I think you should just try to do something outside of this whole chat gpt and also use proprietary data and hope that this is going to stay private or
yeah.
stay
I
proprietary.
want to add one caveat though. For some of the software engineers, ChatGPT, the GPTs have something called action, where you
Mhm.
can make the GPT talk to another server and get some data and stuff. That people who will build stuff and interface it with that, so that it's not just rely on GPT itself, but it goes out, does some performs some sort of task, comes back with some result. Those people are also going to be okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the content. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us lacking. Me and my buddy, we working hard for this money.